There are scriptures that were locked away for a reason. Text that describes a nightmare that we barely survived.
History is not what you were told.
Before the flood, the world was ruled by a different power. The Book of Enoch reveals that 200 angels, known as the Watchers, looked down upon the earth. Their leader was named Samyaza. He stood on the summit of Mount Hermon, surrounded by the swirling snow, and looked at his brethren with fear. He said to them,
I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin.
But they answered him. Together they swore a blood oath. They bound themselves by mutual imprecations. They would not return to heaven. They would take human wives. They would change the bloodline of humanity forever. Samyaza led the rebellion, but another angel, Azazel, brought the fire. He came to teach. He revealed the secrets that heaven had kept hidden to the men. Azazel taught the art of war, how to forge swords from the iron of the earth, how to make shields and breastplates. He turned simple farmers into killers. To the women, he revealed the art of deception, the painting of the eyes, the adornment of precious stones. The innocence of humanity was shattered. Suddenly, the earth was filled with violence. But the corruption of the mind was only the beginning. The union between the Watchers and humans produced something unnatural. The Book of Enoch calls them the Nephilim. From the moment of their birth, terror gripped the world. Mothers looked upon their offspring and saw only monsters. Infants with eyes that burned like coals, flesh cold as stone. They grew, not like mortal children, but like a curse spreading across the land. As young ones, they walked among humanity, strange, twisted beings with glowing eyes. Even as children, they inspired nothing but dread. By the time they reached adulthood, the Nephilim had become giants. Some were towering behemoths of flesh and bone, others twisted into living stone, their bodies forged from the very earth itself. They grew to 3,000 ells in height, so tall they blocked out the sun itself. At first, they demanded tribute. Villages emptied their granaries. Entire herds were driven to their feet. They devoured the labor of all mankind, consuming in a single day what would feed a city for months. Farmers worked until they collapsed in the fields. Livestock was driven to extinction. The earth itself seemed to groan under the weight of their endless appetite. But the hunger of a monster is never satisfied. When the earth had nothing left to give, the giants turned their faces toward the humans. No longer content with grain and cattle, they reached for something far more terrible. They began to devour flesh. They drank the blood. Villages burned, cities fell, screams echoed across a world drowning in fire and shadow. And when the feeding was done, when the giants finally moved on, they left behind only silence. The fields lay barren, soaked in blood. Bones scattered like fallen leaves across desolate roads. The earth became a slaughterhouse. And in the heavens above, watching the corruption that had consumed his creation, God prepared his judgment. The screams of the dying pierced the heavens. Blood soaked the earth so deep even the angels could smell it. The Most High finally broke his silence. One name echoed in the throne room: Azazel, the architect of corruption, and God's patience had run out. He summoned Raphael, the healer, but this was no mission of mercy. "Go," commanded the Most High. "Bind the one who taught them to destroy." When Raphael descended, the earth trembled. Azazel felt it. He knew what was coming, and he refused to kneel. As the archangel approached, Azazel's voice thundered across the desert.
You cannot bind us. We taught them power.
His wings spread wide, defiant, furious, unrepentant. But power means nothing before the throne of God. Raphael spoke only 3 words: "The Most High commands." And Azazel's rebellion ended in an instant. The archangel bound him, hand and foot. No ceremony, no trial, just justice. Raphael dragged him into the wasteland of Dudiel, a place so desolate, even demons feared it. There, he threw Azazel into a pit of eternal darkness. Jagged rocks rained down upon him, each stone a seal, each layer a prison. Then Raphael covered his face, so that Azazel would never see light again, never feel warmth again, never be free again. While the watchers screamed in their chains, one man was chosen: Enoch, the scribe who saw everything. He didn't die. He was taken, lifted from the earth like a breath of wind, pulled into the heavens against every law of nature. He approached a wall of white marble, beautiful, radiant. Then he saw what surrounded it: tongues of fire, roaring like living beasts. He passed through, into a house that defied reality, burning like the sun, freezing like the void. Both at once, impossible, agonizing. And then he saw it, a throne of pure crystal, streams of flaming fire pouring from beneath it, light so bright it would burn your eyes from your skull. On that throne, the great glory sat. Not an old man, not a king, something beyond comprehension. And Enoch, who had witnessed angels fall, trembled like a child. No words were spoken, not yet. Enoch stood before the Creator of all things, and for the first time in his life, he understood fear. Then the great glory spoke. His voice shook the foundations of heaven.
The earth is full of violence. The cry of the blood has reached me. I will heal the earth, which the angels have corrupted.
And Enoch looked down at the world he left behind,